This is my 73 Sea Sprite that I restored in 2020. Done a few things to it since, but I'll kind of go over everything. As far as structure goes, I redid pretty much everything. All new floor. When I took out the floor in here, I took out everything, stripped it down. Under the floor, there are two main runners that I replaced through here. They're all rotten wood, so I replaced that. The transom was okay, it was a little soft, so I ended up putting a cap piece and also angle iron, kind of where it mounts on both sides of the motor up, and then a big one across, and then also an angle iron pitching down through. You can't really see it, but down through on an angle, so it really supports that back end. This boat was given to me from an old friend. She worked for a company and somebody got it free in an auction, and we're gonna cut it up with a Sawzall and throw it in the dumpster. It was in really bad shape, so I don't blame them. And I had it sitting in my grandpa's backyard for about 3 years, and then they sold the house because my grandfather passed, and my dad was like, I'm gonna cut it up if you don't want it. So it was the pandemic and I had nothing better to do, so I finally gave in and put some money into it. Oh, excuse me. So starting with the front, this is just a little front area. The seats, I redid all the seats. Just everything's treated plywood. I didn't want to spend money. Of course, during the COVID, prices were really high for everything. So marine lumber was through the roof in general. Treated was high. I got it at a time where it was a little less high than everything else. And I also only used about 3 sheets of plywood total. I used 5/8 on all of the accessory stuff. The back floor is all 3/8 to save a little weight, and then there's just a little spot here that was 3/4. Otherwise the rest was 5/8. Yeah, so these are redone. I just stapled these all up, did a quick job at upholstery with some vinyl here, cedar to replace this old vinyl piece here. Right underneath here is where the horn is mounted. I just mounted off these 2 screws, so the horn's right in here. We did the little cedar cap there. That was all vinyl before. The whole boat, I believe, was vinyl. Or no, the boat was carpet, and then the sides were vinyl, and then everything else was vinyl. 70s, it was real weird. So I try to duplicate the 70s feel with these front seats. These are the original front cleats. I need to put 2 smaller cleat anchors or something, so because I have nothing up front. This is the cool original front light. They had it backwards, so it's faded really goofy. Yeah, they had it backwards. They must have had it backwards for years, because I put it back on how it was, and it was totally wrong. Excuse me. As far as hull work goes, this is anti-fouling paint. It's holding up pretty good. You can see I have, just some standard trailer wear. I also have put extra coat on just this front piece. I might end up throwing like a hull reinforcement just on that front, because I'm just a little nervous that it's the first contact spot on these fiberglass boats, and so I might grind it down and put a little bigger fiberglass patch on that whole front just to reinforce that. I had a huge crack on the bottom, and you can kind of see it here. I have to have another go at it. I think it's definitely sealed. I will be on the water for 6 hours, and I'll have no water in my boat because I sealed it from the back end, but I think it's partially from stress So I'm gonna just keep an eye on that. But other than that, that's all anti-fouling. I just was in a launch today, and it was a real dirty launch, so I sprayed it down. I have to spray it down again. And then the sides, this is just over the top of that anti-fouling paint. This is that just oil paint, or topside paint. And then this is just standard pinstriping that you can get on Amazon. I got it, just two-tone. And then this is Duplicolor automotive paint. What I used, the original color was very similar to this yellow. You can see it really shines in the sun. It's awesome. But what I did is I just used clear coat, and I added gold and gold Lumidust, and then I also added Mixol. It's like those small little Mixol tubes of like a mustard yellow, and that just gave it a little bit more of a shimmer, and I really like how it turned out. You'll see it when you can see it on the edges and stuff. It just makes it really pretty. And then little areas that I had to patch here and there because the previous person put holes all over the boat. You can see I just kind of that's a patch. I used the Mixol in some Bondo. I haven't cleaned that yet, but that's the original window. It's actually tailor-made. It's pretty awesome window / windshield. They were really crooked, so I had to do a lot of relining, put a new gasket down on the bottom. I just used camper gasket, works really well. And then you come inside. These are just like standard 3-position seats you can get online, but I shortened them by about 5 to 6 inches, somewhere in there. Most of the stuff's original that I kind of revamped a little bit. I of course repainted everything here. This original horn, lights, 3-way light switch, and I added a bilge pump switch. The original bilge pump switch was in the back corner there. You can kind of see the edge of the hole. I didn't like that. I want everything right here. And then choke, that's the original, that's the original choke. And then I had to put a new ignition in because they did not have a key, which isn't a big deal. It's actually a push to choke one, but I like the old style choke, and this plate is pretty cool. And of course I just repainted all that stuff. Underneath here we have my fire extinguisher, a fuse box. The fuse box is the type where if the fuse goes off or breaks, the light will come on, so it's nice and easy to dissect. Also, there's a ground block terminal, and speaker. I have my, over on this other side, you can see, I'll show you that later, that's my stereo. On the side towards me here, by my shift knob / what do they call this, accelerator. This is original. I did have to put new cables in. They were all seized up, so I bought some, like $60 for 2 cables, 14-foot. I think they were 13 or 14-foot cables. Here I have the main shut off for all electric. So when I hit that, my electric turns on, and then I have the ability to use my horn, and all the other mechanisms actually work. But other than that, this cuts it off so I don't drain battery or anything. And then this one is for underneath lighting. Can't really see it, it's too bright out right now. But yeah, that's just a little lighted switch. That's pretty much it for on this side. So the floor is all carpeted. Those sideboards are carpeted. I repainted everything, so this whole cavity is sealed with well, the edges are all sealed with fiberglass and fiberglass patch, and then also everything is coated in Rust-Oleum oil paint, that gray, charcoal gray, whatever it was. And that originally was all vinyled. I like it just painted. It's nice and clean. When I have to clean it, it's easy to clean. And yeah, the back, this I all made. This was just a vinyl thing. So I got my gas here. There's a priming bulb, and then I also added a water separator in the back there. A water separator slash filter. I was having just I had a cheap plastic one there, so that one really does the job. And then everything is also tied up off of, you see a steel bar there onto the side that goes all the way across. And then all my main electrics are off of that, and then so they don't have to sit on the floor. And then I have a 2-door system. It's just sliders, nice and easy, cheap, they don't break. And then I have a battery cavity there. My battery's in the lower one. And then a little side compartment. And then the motor ended up doing quite a bit too. It's still a little rough. I got some carburetor work to do. I repainted the whole face of this. It was all faded really poorly. 40 in the back, my little signature. I ended up putting these hydro stabilizers on here. It gets the boat up on a plane really quick versus what it was doing before, so that helped out a lot. Let's see, I have new sealing seals, new seals here on this and up on the top here where the shaft comes through. There's a new pump, just got the new pump on there. This is all repainted. This was all really scuffed up, so I reshaped the blade because it was really it wasn't bad, but you can tell it was pretty rough, and smooth that out so it's not sharp. Once they get sharp, they get really aggressive. As far as the motor inside goes, I put a new fuel pump on. Sorry. New fuel lines everywhere and clamps. That's all new fuel line. Of course, the cables were all new. Put a new solenoid in. That's a new solenoid. I put a carburetor kit in, but it's kind of swelling up and leaking a little bit, so that's, I think, my main issue is that I got a little vacuum leak off of my carburetor. That's about it on here. I mean, I went through and I cleaned up all my neutral switches. It's kind of tough to hit your neutral on this boat, but see, I just got to zeroed it in. I added the swim platform on the back. I welded a bunch of aluminum up. I used to have access to a MIG aluminum spool gun welder. It worked really well. It doesn't seem super solid. I mean, I can put all my weight on it, but once you're in the water especially, I'm 175 pounds, and that's light, but that holds me. So I have this, so when you're in the water, you just grab onto here. It's only one step, but you put your foot up on there and you lift yourself right up. For the bottom, it's just got one side angle bracket and then two that just hold it on. 2 little plates. That's pretty much it. And then, of course, these bottoms just catch your weight on the bottom end. And I made it only one step so it can come around and seal perfectly. Good vibrations. It's got a new aluminum plate on here. I put aluminum plate here because it had a little flex to it. There is 2 steel plates here and here jammed in here, so this is nice and sturdy. I just really want to make sure this transom's as sturdy as it can be, considering it's real old. I have these recessed cleats on here that are really nice. You don't get snagged on it when you're trying to jump in the water or something. Yeah, that's about it. This side, I do have that stereo and a voltmeter. It's just a pile stereo. It sounds really good actually with this speakers that come with it. I think I bought it on, again, Amazon or something. But the voltage meter is really nice, so if I'm listening to music, I don't have to worry about draining my battery too much. I didn't show that speedometer, but it's the original speedometer dial. And then I added on a, the whole mechanism is a new mechanism, and then I repainted it. And you can see on the, after 40 you're dead, but it doesn't go that fast, so no worries there. That's about it. I do have the pickup dial, pickup on the back. It's not accurate. I need to figure out what's up with that, but the trailer is just a simple trailer. I just bunks, 2 bunks. Holds the weight really well with four rollers. Yep, 4 different rollers. So it does the job really well. And that's the boat.